In this video, we're going to look at some functions and we're going to determine algebraically whether or not each function is even, odd, or neither. So remember when you're doing this that we're going to evaluate f of negative x, which means everywhere we see an x, we're going to plug in negative x and then simplify. And we're looking for three results. If f of negative x is equal to f of x being negative, so everything's the same except my signs have all changed, then we call this odd. Okay. If f of x, negative x, is equal to just f of x, so we simplify everything down and we end up with what we started with, we call that even. And if f of negative x does not equal negative f of x, and f of negative x does not equal f of x, we call this neither. Okay, so in one instance, we're going to get up with the exact same function with all of our signs different, or we're going to end up with our exact same function. Those are even and odd. And if we end up with something completely different, then it's neither. So let's look at a function. So example 1. Let's say we're given f of x is equal to 4x cubed. Okay, so recall that we want to evaluate f of negative x, so that is equal to 4 negative x cubed. Okay, so to simplify, I'm going to change colors here so we can see what's happening with our x and our exponent. Remember that negative x cubed is equal to negative x times negative x times negative x. Okay. If I were to multiply this out, these two would give me positive x squared, and I'd still be multiplying to negative x. And x squared times negative x gives me negative x cubed. So f of negative x equals 4 times negative x cubed. And we saw from our side work right here that that's going to be negative x cubed outside of parentheses, which means I can move this negative sign in front of my 4x cubed. Okay, so f of negative x ended up being the exact same function with my sign changed. I started off with positive 4x cubed and I ended up with negative 4x cubed. So I am here. F of negative x equals negative f of x. So this function is odd. Okay. Let's look at another one. Let's say we have h of x, and that is equal to 3x cubed plus 5. And remember that we want to evaluate h of negative x. So I'm going to go ahead and plug negative x in for x. And I have 3 times negative x cubed plus 5. And just like we saw in the last example, I have negative x to the third power, so I'm still going to end up with negative x cubed right here. So this is equal to negative 3x cubed plus 5. Okay, so our results, the sign of 3x cubed changed over here, but I still have plus 5 and plus 5. So all of my signs did not change. So I'm not here with the odds. I'm not here with the evens because I didn't come out with the exact same function. That means I am here. I ended up with something completely different. So here this one is neither. It's neither even nor odd. Okay. Let's look at one more example. Let's say we're given g of x, and that is equal to 1 over x squared plus 8. Okay, and again, I want to evaluate g of negative x, so I need to replace x with negative x. So I've got 1 over negative x squared plus 8. Okay, and just for my own benefit, remember that negative x squared equals negative x times negative x. So x times x is x squared. Negative times negative is positive. So I'm ending up with positive x squared. So g of negative x equals 1 over x squared plus 8. And going back and looking at my original function, I had 1 over x squared plus 8. After I fully simplified, I have 1 over x squared plus 8, so I ended up with the exact same function. So here we call this even. I took negative x and I plugged it in, and after I simplified, I ended up with the original function. That is why we're saying even. Okay, and we're done.